Silence will test you in a world that mistakes noise for confidence. But real power, Queen, she doesn't flinch. She doesn't argue. She doesn't audition. She simply breathes. I love Kayali Cole, and this is where women learn to love and lead from power and not panic. This is where we return to our truth and learn the strategy of peace, power, and purpose. This is your invitation to come home to your center. And before we begin, Queen, stay with me until the very end. Your exclusive Queen's closing gift is waiting there for you. And I see a lot of you beautiful queens watching but not subscribing yet. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'll wait. All right, awesome. You give your time and I give my best. That's our promise to each other. All right? We're definitely going to go ahead and get into this message. So, let's tell the truth. Right from the beginning, we were taught to stay small, soften our voice, and shrink ourselves in the same breath in the name of keeping the peace. But what if peace was never something we were supposed to keep? What if peace is something you protect? Queen, silence, the kind that comes from soul, not suppression, isn't a retreat. It's a revelation. It says, I'm no longer available for confusion. I'm no longer explaining myself to chaos. I'm no longer proving what my spirit already confirmed. This kind of quiet doesn't apologize. It doesn't plead. It simply walks in knowing and lets the room adjust. Because when you're rooted, you don't just chase understanding. You become it. You don't just match the energy in the room, you set it. You ever open your phone to see a message laced with passive aggression, and instead of spiraling, you breathe and reply, well, thanks for the update. Then turn around and light your sage like, Lord, I didn't drag them. I'm so proud of myself. That's emotional evolution in real time. Stillness doesn't mean you're disconnected. It means you've stopped broadcasting your boundaries and started embodying them. And here's something that's sacred. When a woman stops performing, she starts remembering. She remembers her seat. She remembers her worth. She remembers that restraint is power and not punishment. We don't withhold to be cold. We withhold to stay clear. I know you deleted a whole paragraph and said out loud, this is above my pay grade, and pour yourself a glass of sparkling water instead. We all do it. Yeah, that's wisdom in a wine glass. And Queen, I want you to hear this. Stillness won't always feel safe at first, especially if your nervous system was trained to brace for impact. But as you anchor deeper into your own center, you'll realize silence isn't empty, it's sacred. You're not silent because you've lost your voice. You're silent because you finally trust when not to use it. You're learning that peace isn't passive, it's a decision. It's a direction. It's a spiritual frequency you choose, even when chaos calls you by name. You have to understand this, love. Your imagination isn't a daydream. It's a declaration. And the moment you start to believe that what's in you is more powerful than what's around you, the game changes. Because reality isn't just happening to you. It's happening through you. And silence is a sacred space where the reality begins to take shape. You don't shift your life by arguing with people who won't hear you. You shift it by aligning with the version of you who no longer needs to be seen to feel secure. Let me say this gently. Stillness doesn't mean you're suppressing. Stillness means you decided to stop interrupting your own knowing just to make sure someone else feels comfortable. Peace doesn't beg. peace builds. This is how we begin the transformation, not by shouting over the noise, but by quiet becoming. The quiet, so grounded it turns noise into nothing. Your nervous system used to panic in that pause. Now it recognizes it as power. Because you're not reacting anymore. You're remembering who you are beneath the noise. Remembering what God already showed you in the silence. Remembering that what you feel in your spirit is more truthful than anything someone else could ever project. You ever catch yourself about to respond, your old self, and you say, no ma'am, no sir, no, I'm not doing that anymore. That's inner work, babes. This version of you doesn't match tone. She matches alignment. She doesn't wrestle with confusion. She chases and chooses clarity. And that clarity is not loud, it's not petty, it's not performative, it's present. Queen, here's what you need to hear. Just because they don't understand your silence doesn't mean you need to explain it. Let your presence be the message. Let your peace be the confirmation. Because when you become a woman who doesn't flinch in her quiet, you become a woman who's finally free. I know this for you is hard, but you ever step out of a situation and say, I could have gone all the way off. I could have told them about themselves. But instead, I went to Target. I went shopping. That's the kind of freedom peace gives. And here's a deeper truth. When you no longer need to win the moment, you begin to win your mind back. You're not backing down. You're backing yourself. You're not missing out. You're mastering your energy. And Queen, that's how stillness becomes strategy. Not because you're afraid to speak, but because you've remembered you don't need to match the volume in the room. You don't need to match it. Queen, there's a moment in your evolution when your peace is no longer needs. It doesn't need proof anymore. You no longer need to announce your healing. You simply embody it. You walk in a room and your nervous system says, we don't hustle for safety anymore. We bring it with us. You stop reacting to what triggers you, not because you don't feel it, but because you've trained your body to stay anchored in presence. That's not repression, babe. That's rewiring. You're not avoiding the fire. You just become the flame. Let me bring this home. Every time you choose not to engage with chaos, you tell your nervous system, this is the new us. We don't perform to be heard. We rest to be whole. I know this for you. It's like rewiring all over again. But you ever get that one text and your fingers twitch like they've got something to say? But instead you just breathe. Put your phone down and say, not today. Regulation over retaliation. That's spiritual weightlifting. Because peace isn't passive, it's practice. Over and over until it becomes muscle memory. And Queen, this is the shift. This is where it happens. When the old you would have spiraled, this version of you pauses. That pause, it's not empty, it's an altar. It's where clarity speaks. It's where God confirms. It's where you stop outsourcing your discernment to someone else's understanding. If this is speaking to you and it's hitting you somewhere deep, take a second to subscribe. We're not just creating content, we're cultivating transformation. And your next breakthrough may be already waiting in the next message. Now let's keep going. Because Queen, you don't have to prove your peace to protect it. You don't need to soften your no so someone else can digest it. You're not available for emotional manipulation just because you used to overfunction. You're not available for presence. You are only available for presence. You're available for divine timing. You're available for conversations that feel like truth and not tension. You ever hear your name come up in a circle and your only response is, God bless them, as you take another bite of your lunch? You know, that's emotional evolution. That's what alignment feels like. Not performance, but peace. Because Queen, you've done the work. You've rescripted the old beliefs. You've imagined and started becoming the version of you who doesn't negotiate her peace to be accepted. You don't wait for the evidence, you become it. So now, you don't perform silence, you practice it. You live it. You protect it. Because this peace that you've cultivated is not just a vibe. It's not. You don't just feel different now. You're starting to live different because it's not a vibe. It's who you are. Because the version of you that's showing up now, she's been resurrected in spirit and restructured. And that restructuring, it takes work. Not the kind of work that exhausts your soul, but the kind that clears old wiring so something higher can take root. Let's tell the truth. Stillness can feel like grief. The grief of who you used to be. The grief of how long you tried to earn love with performance. The grief of how often you mistook exhaustion for value. But now you know. You don't need to hustle for healing. You don't need to strive for safety. You don't need to silence your knowing just to keep someone else comfortable. Nah, we're not doing that. Have you ever walked out of a conversation and say, that used to trigger me. I must really be growing. Then celebrate with a solo dance party in your kitchen? Yeah, I've done it plenty of times. That's healing in real time. In real time. Because Queen, this is the sacred part. Where you stop measuring your peace by how quiet the world is, and start measuring it by how calm your spirit remains, no matter the noise. Because true silence, it doesn't come from avoidance. It comes from alignment, right? So let's breathe into this together. Ask yourself, where am I still confusing silence with shame? What parts of me feel afraid to be still? Because stillness used to mean danger. What narratives am I ready to rewrite? Write the answers, or whisper them, or just let them rise in your spirit. Because when you get still, the old stories come up, not to haunt you, but to heal you. And Queen, your nervous system isn't your enemy, it's your map. It's showing you where you need compassion, not criticism. So today, right now, instead of pushing through pause, instead of fighting clarity, receive it. Instead of matching someone else's energy, match God's frequency. When you shift your internal state, you change what your body believes is possible. And when your body believes peace is safe, it will stop chasing chaos. You ever cancel a call and light a candle and just say out loud, I don't even have the capacity to fake it today? And that's holy. Yes, Queen, that's holy. You're not obligated to show up as the strong one all the time. You're called to show up as the whole one. And wholeness requires quiet. It requires room. It requires spirit. It does. Queen, you didn't come this far to understand peace. You came to embody it. This is where your silence becomes not just a strategy, but a way of being. No longer reactive, no longer performative, no longer waiting for the room to calm down before you allow yourself to feel safe. You become the calm. You become the room, right? Let's breathe together, love. Wherever you are, close your eyes, drop your shoulders, and let this land. We're going to inhale and exhale. Inhale, hold it, exhale, release it. Again, inhale, hold it, exhale, release it. Let the stillness expand inside of you. Because when the world doesn't understand your quiet, that's not your cue to speak louder. That's your confirmation you're finally rooted, right? We breathe so we can return to center. We affirm so we can lift our spirits and reprogram our mind, right? Say this with me. I am not here to perform. I'm here to reign. My silence is not my absence. It is my authority. I'm no longer addicted to cycles. I'm anchored in spirit. I don't need to match their chaos. I carry calm. I trust God's timing more than anyone's opinion. I walk in peace, not panic, in discernment, not drama. Okay? Again, it's all about rewiring our mind. One small step you can choose to do this week, whether it's stepping away from a tense thread, turning your phone over, or pausing before replying, practice choosing stillness over spiraling. Something you can do this week to audit your life. Ask yourself, who has access to me out of habit and not out of alignment? Then do the brave thing of releasing them, revoke, or realign. This isn't isolation, it's integrity. Remember, as the word says in Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Stillness isn't passive, it's prophetic. Stillness says, I no longer fight battles God already won. Stillness says, I no longer seek closure from people who benefit from my confusion. Stillness says, I am safe in silence because my spirit is settled. Right? You have to stay still to hear the voice of God, to hear what your spirit is saying. There's so much noise around. And it's not about being petty. It's not about ignoring people, right? It's about recentering yourself and coming back to who you are. That's not bypassing, that's breakthrough. And Queen, your silence no longer asks permission. Your presence no longer negotiates. Your peace is your spiritual assignment. You are no longer auditioning for belonging. You are creating a new rhythm of being. And from now on, you don't just enter the room, you elevate it. With your tone, with your timing, with your discernment, not because you're loud, no, but because you're anchored, you're rooted. Now take a breath and hold this truth real close. Your silence is not your absence. It is your anointing. Let it speak, let it lead, let it reign. And love, if this message rooted something sacred in you, I want you to hear it. Drop a comment, share the shift, let another woman know she's not alone in her becoming. And if you haven't yet subscribed, because this space is built for women like you, go ahead and do that now. Thank you for being discerning, anchored, and unapologetically rooted. We lead from spirit, we rest in strategy, we win in silence. And Queen, you're not just walking away from noise. You're walking into reigning. And always be blessed, take care, and have a great day. Talk soon.